Hi, guys. Um, hello. Welcome to the Awakening to Your Story YouTube page video of the week. I'm Alicia Hartzell, and I am here to talk to you today about people pleasing, feeling like you aren't enough, and the power to determine who you are. Um, I scheduled a live video, and I haven't quite gotten the hang of this YouTube live thing. So I'm sorry if you tried to connect to the link that I sent out and it didn't work. And we're here on this new link. I promise that I will try to get better on this platform as time goes on. um, okay, today, we're coming in before the holidays, and I know that that sense of people pleasing revs up around the holidays, and the sense of feeling like you're not enough also revs up during the holidays. And so I really want to offer you some shifts in perspective that help you kind of take back your own power to determine who you are and how you feel and how you move um, amongst the people and situations in your life. I have taken some notes that I'm going to be reading off of because the blog that goes with this video really outlines a whole bunch of things to keep you on track. And so I want to make sure that um, if you're a visual learner and not a like an auditory learner or someone who reads to learn, that you get everything that you need out of it. Okay, so let's talk about how when you are trying to please others so that you feel worthy, accepted, loved, appreciated, when you're trying so hard to please other people so that you feel like you are those things, your focus accidentally gets put on the other people, right? Now, when you start to feel like you aren't enough, when you start to shrink down and feel less than, or feel like you have to make yourself smaller, you are also focused on external situations, other people and how they're making you feel, the things in your life that aren't going well or aren't happening the way that you want them to. That sense that you have to kind of make yourself smaller happens in relationship to your focus on the exterior world around you. Now, another situation that happens often when I'm talking to people about this particular idea that you get to determine who you are also happens when you get into arguments with people or you get swept up in an emotional current that is brought on by a situation or by other people, and you end up acting out through that reaction, whether it's yelling at your parents or your kids or your friends, or doing something that really, when you think about it after, doesn't feel good, like you wish you hadn't been that way because it wasn't really true to who you were or who you are. All of those scenarios really link you to your focus being on the other people or the external factors. And the thing that's important to remember when you are in those kind of moments is that when that happens, for that moment in time, you're making those people the main character of your story. And that never feels good. That never feels right. That never is going to settle within yourself and feel like the right thing, because it's not. You're the main character of your story. You are the person, the author, the one who's creating it all into existence. And so you are the one who truly has the power, right? But when your focus is on them, they become the main character of your story. You offer them the power to allow you to feel or to make you feel a certain way. When the reality is that with a shift of perspective, you can bring it back to your own heart, your own story, your own power to be the author of your story, and to allow yourself to feel the way you want to feel. Because really, only you get to determine who you are and how you show up in your life, right? Okay, so when you're in those people pleasing situations, or when you're in the situations where you're feeling like you're not enough, or you're in the middle of a situation where you feel like, uh-oh, I'm getting off track here, whatever that may be, I want you to try these three things. The first thing is to understand where you are in relationship to the surroundings, whether you're trying to figure out who you are in relationship to the people that you're trying to please, or why you're trying to fit in with those people, or the people that you're having an argument with, or the people that make you feel like you have to shrink down, like you aren't worthy enough, or that you have to be small. In that moment, the first thing I want you to do is just take a step back. And then I want you to think about where you are in relationship to this statement. Okay, I'm going to read it just to make sure I get it right. Where are you in reference to the idea that you are the author and the creator of your story and the main character living it all into existence, because you have the power to determine who you are and how you show up, right? So if you go over to the blog, there's actually an image that you can download and put on your phone so that you can actually have that as a ready for if you need it during the holidays or your everyday life or whatever. But I want you to really think about that. Where am I in relationship to being the author of my story, to being the main character who's living it into existence? If this were a movie that you were watching, what would you be rooting for your character to do? To hand over that power to somebody else, or to come back home to yourself and find that power within you, right? So just the first thing is just realize where you are in relationship to that statement, to that title, that you are the author of your story and the main character. And you have the power to determine who you are and how you feel. Okay? The second, the second thing I want you to do is I want you to stay curious and engaged, and in that moment start asking yourself questions like this. Okay, I got a list. In this moment, am I being who I want to be? Whether you're working really hard to please someone else so that you feel worthy. Wait, if I'm curious, is this who I want to be? Do I want to be begging for someone to value me? Or do I want to be able to find that value in myself? Do I want to be able to know that value without having to depend on them to tell me because they're not doing their job? The reality is it's not their job, it's your job, right? So you even that question just brings it back home to you. Who do I want to be right now? Again, if it were a movie playing out, who do you want to be as you show up in that moment, right? Am I taking on someone else's idea of who I am? That happens a lot with the people pleasing. And I was a people pleaser back in the day when I was young. And I often took on that role so that I could be a mediator or I could calm the waters. And that was not something I wanted to do. It was something that other people expected of me. So again, just think about it, just stay curious. Doesn't have to have a lot of weight to it. Just keep engaging with it. Am I taking on someone else's old patterns? Now, this, I used to catch myself, and still sometimes do catch myself in a situation or a scenario where I'm like, okay, hold on. If I'm writing my story, is this what I want? Oh, no, no, no. This is something I learned a long time ago, and I don't like it. And so in that moment, you can, as the author of your story, write something different because you determine who you are and how you feel and how you show up, right? Am I making myself small because of someone else? right? Am I shrinking down so that somebody else can have the limelight or can feel bigger because they've told me I have to be small so that they can feel worthy of themselves? That one happened to me a lot too when I was growing up. Uh, I constantly had to make myself shrink down and be small. So remember, you get to determine who you are and how you show up and who you want to be, right? It doesn't have to be according to the old patterns. It doesn't have to be according to what other people thought of you, right? Am I trying to please someone else to feel loved, worthy, accepted, or like I can fit in? These are just like thoughts and questions that you can ask yourself as you start to engage with the world around you, right? It just takes out some of the sting and the push of being wrapped up in a scenario, right? Okay, then the third thing I want you to do, okay, let's review. The first thing is figure out where you are in relationship to this idea that you are the author of your story and the main character living it all into existence because you have the power to determine who you are and how you feel. And then loosen it up even more and start asking yourself those questions, those pertinent questions, so that you can figure out where you are in relationship to all the working parts, right? And then the third thing I want you to do is I want you to start remembering and pulling in ideas and thoughts that are at a higher level of thinking than where you've been, right? So some of them could be I am enough and worthy as I am. I mean, that's a big deal for you to be able to go, wait a minute, I don't need I don't need to be liked by these people to feel like I'm enough. I don't need to have finished my checklist of all these crazy things so that I feel like I'm enough and worthy. I don't My worth and my value and my enoughness have nothing to do with external circumstances. All that comes from me being me, the completely unique divine creature set into action through my humanity, right? I always have a choice. That one's a big one actually. I think so often we forget that we have a choice, that we have the power in the moment to change focus, to change momentum, to change point of view. It doesn't have to be about them. It can be about our hearts and about what's going on within us, right? I always have the power to choose. I get to determine who I am and how I act. So, in any given circumstance, you have the power to determine who you are, how you show up, and if you don't like it, you have the power to change it. And it doesn't have to be a big, like, sweeping current where it takes you a long time to change it. You can literally in the moment go, I think I'm going to choose something else. And it happens one thought at a time. So all you have to do is slowly start to change your thinking, change your focus, change your perspective. It always comes down to focus and perspective for me. I think it is so powerful. I am the only one who is writing my story. So I have the power to write my story. Yes, other people can filter in and they can affect my story, but only if I'm allowing them to, right? In my story, I get to be as big, as happy, as loud, and as me as I want to be. I mean, so freeing, so freeing. So, thoughts like these are super powerful. And you have to remember, it all happens one thought and one feeling at a time. And sometimes when you're in the middle of people pleasing, like you find yourself in a scenario where you feel kind of riled up or suppressed or anxious or whatever because you're trying to please someone else so that you feel valuable or worthy or accepted or whatever the case may be. When you're in that space to go from 0 to 60 of like, oh yes, I am capable and worthy and feeling so good. It doesn't always work that way. It's real hard to go from the angst to the freedom. So that's why those questions are so powerful. That's why those thoughts after the questions ease up on the momentum, right? And they help you slow down that momentum so that you can shift to your own point of view, to your own heart, to your own story, right? Okay, so if you find yourself people pleasing, if you are feeling like you aren't enough, if you are wrapped up in a situation where you are reacting to other people and you're not showing up feeling good about who you are, you actually get to determine who you are and how you act and how you feel. You have that power. So I'm going to review it one more time. In those moments, first, figure out where you are in relationship to being the author of your story, the main character living it all into existence, and you having the power to show up and determine who you are, right? That's a big one. Who's being the main character? Where's my focus? Is my focus on my heart and my story, being the author, or is it on them? Have they become the main character of my story accidentally for this moment, right? And then ease up on some of that by thinking about it, just getting curious. Just allow yourself to get curious and think about, okay, where am I in relationship to all these things? Who am I trying to please? What am I trying to do? Right? Start going through, am I making somebody else the main character? Am I thinking out of old thoughts and old feelings and old patterns? Is this mine? Is this who I want to be? And then after you start easing up on some of that, you can start to usher in those truer thoughts. I am worthy, lovable, valuable as I am. I get to determine who I am. I get to be as loud and as happy as I want to be. I I am me. And that is valuable, right? So, as you go off into your week, I hope that you can really step into this place of ownership for the fact that you are the author of your story. You are the main character living it all into existence, and you have the power to determine who you are and how you feel. I I love that you come to the table of humanity with all your messy human glory and that you are creating so much just by being you. And so this week, I really want you to focus on that idea that you are the author of your story and you are that main character living it into an existence. And you, only you, have the power to determine who you are. Okay, so you can go over to my blog and get the notes of all of this, read it, watch the replay of the video. Please feel free to reach out if you have questions about this. I'm constantly answering comments on my YouTube page. So please feel free to ask me anything. Tell me if you're having a problem, and I'm happy to help you move through it. Uh, and I will show up and reflect love back to you and cheer you on. And yeah, I believe in your your worth and your value, and I'm excited about the story that you're writing. Okay, until next week, I will be holding a space of utter love for you, knowing that you are an incredible creature and you are living this beautiful story of yours into existence. So I will see you next week.